وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأتوا به متشابها ولهم فيها أزواج مطهرة وهم فيها خالدون صدق الله العظيم. Ayat number 25 of Surat Al-Baqarah. The necessary elements and points that are needed for a person to enter into Jannah, into paradise. There are two major elements. One is Iman and one is A'mal Salihah. One is belief and the other is righteous deeds. They both have to be existing within the life of a person to make them qualified to enter into Jannah, into paradise. There are a few points within the Quran when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the believers and their entry into Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions in these ayat أَنَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ, that for those who believe and do righteous deeds, أَنَّ لَهُمْ, that for them there will be جَنَّاتٍ, gardens, تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ, underneath which rivers will flow. This is not one garden, but these are Jannat. Jannat is the plural of Jannah. Jannah is singular. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here and also in many places in the Quran that they will have Jannat, many gardens. These Jannat will not be like the gardens of this dunya, like the gardens of this world. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them something that is beyond our ability to describe or go into details. In the ayat of the Quran, there are certain descriptions that are mentioned. In the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there are certain descriptions mentioned. This is just for our understanding. Here, the very simple description is given that for them will be Jannatin, such gardens, Tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, underneath our rivers will be flowing. In this world, if you have a garden and you do not water it, it will die. That is the system that we understand. In Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us such gardens, the rivers will be flowing underneath them. And the smallest Jannah that will be given to a person, which we know from the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the smallest Jannah will be 10 times the size of this earth. That is the smallest Jannah. The largest Jannah, Jannatul Firdaus, it is beyond our ability to understand because you get out of the limits of size. But that is the Jannah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will place His arsh. So what kind of Jannah that is and how it is beyond the comprehension of size. What is in these Jannat, what is in these gardens, various ahadith have been mentioned in great detail. Some of the houses, the palaces that will be in these Jannat, what these palaces will have, what kind of life a person would live. What is clear is that whatever it will be perpetual bliss and happiness. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. just in a very, very brief nutshell, that it will be perpetual peace from Rabbul Rahim, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the saying of peace. And that level of peace will be such that there will be no fear of anything. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. There will be no fear and no grief. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made Jannah the place worth going to. تجري من تحتها الأنهار, underneath these gardens rivers will be flowing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when explaining these rivers, He tells us in the Quran, مثل الجنة التي وعد المتقون, the example of the Jannah that has been promised for the muttaqun, for those who have taqwa. فيها أنهار من ماء غير آسن, in that Jannah there are gardens. فيها أنهار, there are many, many gardens of water. وأنهار من لبن لم يتغير طعمه, there are rivers, anhar, many, many rivers of milk that will not change its color or its taste. It will be a different kind of river. It will be a different type of milk. And when I say milk, I'm not just talking about the ruh hafza that we have in the month of Ramadan that is sweet or something. This is not that type. This is a different type of milk. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِنْ عَسَلٍ مُصَفَّى, there will be rivers, many rivers of honey, very, very pure, very, very, in its own texture, very unique. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِنْ خَمْرٍ لَذَّةٍ لِلشَّارِبِينَ, there will be many, many rivers of wine that will be very sweet to those who will taste it. It will not be like the wine of this dunya where just the smell alone will turn you away. But people still drink it because it gives them some level of intoxication. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give the people of Jannah these anhar, many, many rivers of these various elements. And in this world, we don't have rivers of these things. We only understand the river of water. As far as the other rivers are concerned, how it is and what it is and what type of texture it will be, what type of river it will be, these are even beyond our ability to understand. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks about that Jannah, underneath rivers will be flowing. There are some places in this world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created. They're so beautiful with nature that once you see them, just the sight gives you some level of serenity. Going there and visiting there will give you another level of serenity. There are many, many places in the world like this. There are some places in Malaysia, some places in New Zealand, some places in Hawaii, and many other places. You see the mountain range, so beautiful. It's all luscious green. In the middle there are rivers going and rivers flowing. One of the places we went to was in Malaysia also. I believe they call it Langkawi. It was very, very beautiful. You see various places in the world, and that's the gardens of this dunya. That's just this world. Just seeing these places, being there, gives you some level of serenity, a little peace of mind. Just being around that river area or the riverbed, the sound of the waves, and then all of the greenery and the nature itself makes a person very, very calm. Makes you forget many of your worries of this dunya, makes you forget this world. But that is what the beauty of this dunya, of this world can do. What about Jannah, what that must be? It will be beyond description. كُلَّمَا رُزِقُوا مِنْهَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in these ayat, كُلَّمَا رُزِقُوا مِنْهَا مِنْ ثَمَرَةٍ رِزْقًا قَالُوا هَذَا الَّذِي رُزِقْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِ وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا. Every time they'll be presented with the fruit, the person will say that we have had this fruit before. In Jannah there'll be many different types of fruits. When you'll be presented with a fruit, you'll feel, you know what, this is the same fruit I've had before. But the only thing that will be the same about it will be the way it looks. In this world, try to understand one thing. In this world, you have an apple tree. Take off one apple, you eat it, it tastes like an apple. You take off another apple, you eat it, it still tastes like an apple. You take off the 100th apple, you eat it, it still tastes like an apple. They're all apples. They look the same, they taste the same. You go to Jannah, you have one apple tree. You eat one apple, it tastes like something else. You eat the next apple, it'll be something else. It'll be something beyond explanation. This is why when they look at the second apple, they'll say, I just had the other apple, you know. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in this ayah. كُلَّمَا رُزِقُوا مِنْهَا مِنْ ثَمَرٍ. The word kullama is used. Every time they'll look at another, the same fruit, they'll say, this, from this tree, I've already had the fruit of this tree. قَالُوا هَذَا الَّذِي رُزِقْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِ. See, you know, I had the fruit from this tree already. وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا. The only thing that will be the same, the fruit, will be the way it looks. Everything else about the fruit, down to the taste, will be very different. But that is just the look of the fruit. It is mentioned that when the people of Jannah, a person will be enjoying in Jannah, so he'll be brought a gift by an angel. The gift will be brought to him. And he'll open, it'll be a fruit. So he'll take the fruit, he'll say, I already had this fruit. Look at these many trees I have, the same fruit. So I'll take the bite, you know. And it said that when he'll take the first bite, the amount of fruit that he has in his Jannah, all of those flavors will be in that first bite. You can imagine for how long he'd be gone in the taste. Then he'll take the second bite, it'll make him forget the flavor of the first bite. That's how sweet it'll be. It'll be something else. Every bite will be different than the last bite, let alone every fruit different than the other fruit. What Jannah is, and these are just descriptions for us to understand. It is far beyond even this. But this is just for our understanding of what the fruits of Jannah are. Person will enjoy a meal. He'll have some chicken nice, and he'll throw some bird, and he'll throw the bones. The animal will come back to life, fresh. And then he'll ask the person, did I taste good, you know? Or do you want another try? In this world we see that and we might run away, you know. Your food starts talking to you, this is not nice. In this dunya. And in the akhirah it'll come right back to life. It'll come full, fresh animal again. Just the way it was you were wishing. And these are just some descriptions of what one part of Jannah is. What is real in Jannah is beyond human understanding. So they'll just say that this is something like the sustenance we've had before, the fruits that we've had before. The only thing that will be the same is just the way that it will look. Not only this, the taste will be so deep. You know, in this world, when you taste something amazing, you taste something very, very good, your taste buds can remember it. In your memory, you just think that, I think it tasted like that, but you crave it. That's what cravings are. You don't actually remember exactly how it tasted. Think of the best food you've ever had. You think of that food, how did it taste? You only taste so much. You only crave it. The reason you're craving it is because you can't remember exactly how it was. But this is the system Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created within us in this dunya. What about in Jannah, what that will be? What the taste will be and how they will be. It will be beyond human understanding. And these fruits also will have such sense. And in this world, fruits Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created as a gift for us human beings. That's why they're packaged. We're still so ungrateful that most of us don't really enjoy them the way they should be. Or we wait till at the right time when you're supposed to eat them, we don't eat them. Wait until they spoil. We let them spoil. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has packaged many of them in such a beautiful way. He knows. Out of His mercy, He has packaged them for us. And it has a very unique taste, smell. Every single fruit. Very unique smell. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created these smells so that we crave them. The same will be in Jannah. What type of fruits they will be and what type of scents they will be. It is beyond our ability to understand and to explain. So the only thing that will be the same in the fruit will be the shape and the way it will look. وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا أَزْوَاجٌ مُطَهَّرَةٌ وَهُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that for them in paradise will be pure spouses. One thing needs to be understood, that as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us human beings, and He has created everything in this universe in pairs. Everything in this universe, everything within creation, Zawjayn, has been created in pairs. There's a pair of everything, day and night. And all the other various, even the day and night is created in pairs. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the only being that is one and unique. Everything in His creation is created in pairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us human beings in pairs as well. You have male and female. And this is the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created throughout the world, in all of the animals and all of the plants, even within the fruits you go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this system, male and female. This is the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. And the reason this is created is that a person is not to be alone for too long. This becoming lonely or solitude, person getting into too much solitude, away from everything, this is not what we were created for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created Adam alayhi salam, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Adam alayhi salam also created his spouse, our mother Hawa radiyallahu anha. Hawa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created her as a companion for Adam alayhi salam. One side a spouse, on the other side a companion, a friend. This is the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. And this is the system that has been established. There is no third genetic or third element after this. Yes, in the 21st century we live in a very strange time. Up until just a few years ago, there was male and female. Now this next generation, subhanallah, they don't even know what they are. They're identifying as something else. This next generation is very strange. I may be saying it to some of you, mashallah, you come from a very pure era. You had male and female. We're dealing with an era where now the next generation, they don't even call them babies. They call them babies, This is the new thing. Even on the forum now, it's male, female, something else, You have the option gender neutral, You don't know what they are. When they grow up, they will choose what they are. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Where we have gone, they call this freedom, They say if you choose for them, you're taking away their right to choose. Allahu Akbar. Freedom also has limits. This is something, this goes into the level of insanity, where we're going. And this is becoming the accepted norm. Yes, for mashallah, for many of you that are of the older generation, you may not see this as something, but wait a few years and it'll be something very, very strange. There are cases now coming. They don't even want to name their children as male or female or boy or girl. They said, no, they have to be, let them choose when they grow up. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, male and female. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this system within the creation so that there's a distinction and a difference between the khaliq and makhluq. So there's a difference between the creator and the created. We creation, we depend on one another and we need one another. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in this system. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the being that is one and unique and independent. That is why this level of independence or solitude, it is very detrimental for the creation. It can really ruin the creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah, when speaking about paradise, He says, وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا أَزْوَاجٌ مُطَهَّرَةٌ. In paradise they'll have spouses that will be very, very pure. Now they're trying to say that, we Muslims are only looking for the spouses of paradise. Brother, we're looking just to get to paradise. Once we get there, everything that is in paradise, of course we'll want it. We're grateful for these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for us. We're not worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just for that. We're worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His rida, for His pleasure. And the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? Jannah, paradise. That is the display of the rida and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us human beings on. There are certain things that in our day-to-day life we are in need of. And that we have these needs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created within us. Amongst them is also spouses. And along with that, the ornaments also. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in need of food, in need of water, in need of so many other things. Along with that also spouses. Then we also need things for entertainment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in need of these things. So in paradise, this will be shown in the most extreme level. These are the things that are mentioned about Jannah that are related to us in this dunya. Try to understand this. As human beings, what are our most basic needs? Sustenance such as food, the best form are fruits. We understand about health. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about spouses, He uses the term mutahhara. This is what we as human beings seek in a spouse, is that they're loyal and they're pure. Nobody wants an unloyal spouse. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the things in Jannah which relate to us in this dunya. in this world. The things that do not relate to us in this dunya, in this world, are not mentioned. Why? Because we will not even be able to comprehend them or understand them. When you get into Jannah, you'll have such needs and such desires that we don't even have, we don't even understand in this dunya. But the things that we understand in this dunya and what we look for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions them in the Quran, in Jannah, in the most purest and best form. We all need to eat. We try to eat the healthiest food. Not only the healthiest food, we try to eat the most pure food, clean. And the most purest and cleanest food is when you take the fruit right off the tree. Or you pluck it right off at that moment. That is the freshest. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions these fruits and mentions the trees of Jannah. We all need drinks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the drinks of Jannah. One of the drinks that is very unique to human beings is a drink that makes you forget your worries. Everybody wants that drink. We all know that it is wine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it haram in this dunya. Has made it haram for the believers in this world. Why? Because when you're in an intoxicated state, you become heedless. And in that it makes you so intoxicated, you become heedless. In that heedlessness, you can lose your salah, you can lose your a'mal, and you can do things that are not appropriate. Later on, you just regret them. And it's not something that needs too much explanation. Just look at our society. These people, they get drunk, and after they become sober, they realize that they've done things that they regret, and there's no way to go back. And when they ask, why did you do this? I don't even remember doing it. They were in that state. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us such a drink in Jannah that will be pure form. It will not cause a person to lose their senses, but that level of intoxication and the taste of the drink will be there. It will be something else. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah tells us that in Jannah there are these pure things. When it comes to spouses, everyone wants someone that is loyal and wants a spouse that has never been touched. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the term in the Quran, mutahhara. Those that are pure spouses, they will also be very, very suitable as far as the age goes. But the age of the people of Jannah will be given the age of 33. That is kind of the common age Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. It is mentioned in the ahadith, certain points about Jannah are mentioned. And this one in beauty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give everyone very, very high level of beauty and intense beauty. The akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So these are just some of the things that are mentioned related to paradise in Jannah. وَهُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. One thing that in this dunya, in this world, that if we have, regardless of how beautiful we make our world around us, there is this fear that one day we have to leave it. Even if we spend everyone in this world, each and every one of us, me and you, we are all working to build our utopia, our perfect world. All of us are working to build this Jannah. You can talk to anyone. If you hear their plans, they'll give you this unique plan. Later on you realize this person is nothing but dreaming. We call them daydreams, they're just dreams. But every human being has this dream. Why? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam and our mother Hawa alayhi salam radiyallahu anha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed them to be in Jannah, in paradise. And when He allowed them to be in paradise, He gave them a taste of paradise. That was encoded in their genetics, in their genes. Then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought them into this dunya and gave them children, that coding went into every single human being. That is why every single human being is working towards being successful and building this utopia. And sad thing is that we have never seen Jannah. So we all try to come up with our own ideas of what Jannah should be, how this perfect world should be. Everyone in their own mind. You can talk to the biggest criminal, the biggest drug lord or biggest thief. You ask them, why are you doing this? They'll tell you this plan. Listen, there's this much money in this, and with this money I'm going to build this and build this. And next thing you realize everything that he's doing, he's justifying it by looking to build his paradise. So don't think this is only unique to you, that at night time when you start planning, and then mashallah, from hundreds you go into the hundreds of millions to the billions, and then you have your own kingdom, and then you realize you're still lying down in your bed. This is not just unique to one human being. This is across the board. This is just across, every human being goes through this. But the reality is that those that have made that effort to build this dunya, in this dunya, in this world, those that have made that effort to build that Jannah, when they've gotten to that level, they were so old that they would realize they wasted their life. trying to build it, and they were too late to enjoy any of it. They went through life to build that paradise, someone else took it. They did not even get a chance to enjoy it. It is written, the reality about this world, the reality of this dunya, the reality of this world. There was in the nations of the past, at the time of Hud alayhi salam, there was a king. And this king, he realized that Hud alayhi salam was giving da'wah to Qawm Ad. Qawm Ad was a nation that was very, very powerful in physical strength. In fact, it is reported about them, they were able to uproot trees with their bare hands. They were living in forests, very, very beautiful places they used to live in. So this king called Hud alayhi salam and said, "Oh Hud, what are you inviting the people to?" So Hud alayhi salam, he told the king that, I am inviting the people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the king, he said that, okay, if you're inviting the people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will they get if they obey you? Hud alayhi salam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them Jannah. This king said, "Oh, what is this Jannah you speak of? Tell me about it." So Hud alayhi salam, he gave his description of Jannah, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given to him in wahi. This king said, "Okay, hold on." The king went, started making his efforts to build this Jannah. And the name of the king slipped my mind. Hafiz Usman, do you remember? Shaddad, yes. So this king started building, Jazakumullah, this king started building this Jannah, Shaddad, was his name. And really put effort into it. Many, many years went by. And Hud alayhi salam, he was continuing his da'wah. So the king Shaddad, he called Hud alayhi salam and he said, come see my Jannah. You're inviting people to the worship of Allah, but they'll see Jannah after they die. Come see my Jannah. They don't even have to leave this world to get to my Jannah. Come take a tour of my Jannah. So Hud alayhi salam went, gave one tour. I was really amazed. It was something, you spend years to build something, especially with that much power. They were the superpower of the time. They had this idea that we're going to build a Jannah, I mean, we live in a country that is the superpower of the time. What are some of the facilities? Sometimes it really amazes you, the level of facilities that we live in, if you compare it to some of the countries in the world. So Hud alayhi salam, when he came out of that Jannah, he was surprised. Shaddad said, "What do you think of my Jannah?" Shaddad had not himself gone in yet to live there, but he just took Hud alayhi salam and come. So Hud alayhi salam said, it's amazing, that's all I can say. The king Shaddad said, "What do you think about my Jannah?" He said, I don't know if there's any place in the world like this, to be honest with you. So Shaddad, he said, "Tell me, is there anything missing from my Jannah?" Hud alayhi salam said, "No, not that I see, from the worldly perspective." Shaddad said, "Do you have any comments?" He said, "Yeah, just one comment." He said, "What?" He said, "We've read, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the wahi, that the people of Jannah will never die. لا يموتون إلا الموتة الأولى. They will never die in paradise." Shaddad said, "You're talking about death? If I could build a paradise, what is death going to affect me?" This is what arrogance is. So he sat on his horse ready to go into paradise. And his horse was about to put the first hoof in that Jannah. And Malakul Maut, the angel of death, came and said, "Let's go." Took his soul, took the soul of Shaddad. He didn't even get to step into his paradise. In the narrations it comes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Malakul Maut, the angel of death, that of all these souls that you have taken, have you ever regretted taking someone's soul? You've taken so many souls of the people in so many different conditions. Have you ever regretted taking someone's soul? The angel of death said, "Oh Allah, there was two people that I really felt sorry for, He said, "Who are they?" Malakul Maut, the angel of death, said, "One, there was a time when they had just made the ships, these massive boats and ships, and they were going, and there was a storm that hit the ship and everyone had died, but there was one mother that had a baby, and they were sitting on one of the planks of that boat that was left. And oh Allah, you ordered me take the soul of the mother. He says, so I came to take the soul of the mother, and the baby saw me and kind of, like reached out to me. And he said, my heart felt so like I'm taking the soul of the mother. This baby, I must be coming for him next. It can't be too far. He's going to be gone. He said, I took the soul of the mother and I left. He said, okay. Malakul Maut, do you feel sorry? And who's the second person you feel sorry for? The angel of death said, oh Allah, there was this one king who was a real fool, He spent his whole life building Jannah. And oh Allah, after he built such a beautiful Jannah, oh Allah, you didn't even let him have permission to step inside it, This Shaddad. You told me to take his soul right when his horse was about to put the hoof in. I felt sorry for that fool, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, oh Malakul Maut, that baby that reached out to you, that was the Shaddad. That's not two people, it's the same person. I took that baby to land safely. He was adopted by the people of Ayat. He became their king. That was the Shaddad. This is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we come from and where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take us. But the reality is, even the paradises of this world, whatever paradise we make, one reality is we have to leave it behind. Regardless of how powerful the kingdoms we may have, death is such a power that no creation can face it. And everyone has to go. But when it comes to Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all the places, in multiple places in the Quran tells us, Hum fiha khalidun. They'll dwell in Jannah for eternity. And that is something that we cannot promise about anything in this world. So that fear of death, there will be no fear that this Jannah we have to leave it one day, or that we have to die one day. So instead of building our paradises here, we should make an effort to build our paradise in the hereafter. Isa alayhi salam, he told his disciples, a man's heart is where his treasure is. So build your treasure or your house in that place which is eternal, as opposed to that place which is temporary. Which means we should build our treasure in the hereafter. Then we'll have a yearning to go and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll have a yearning to go to that Jannah. But if we're only building our treasures in this world, it'll be very difficult for us to go at the time of death. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.